Teacher mock black girl for dreaming of Harvard, until a Harvard dean walks in asking for her. Do you believe in dreams? Not the fleeting, ephemeral kind that vanish with the morning light, but the stubborn, audacious dreams that cling to your soul, refusing to be dismissed? Have you ever dared to dream so big, so outrageously, that others scoffed, their laughter a sharp, dismissive echo in the quiet chambers of your heart? A dream that dared to transcend the boundaries of circumstance, to defy the very limitations society had so meticulously constructed? If you have, then this story is a mirror to your own resilience. If you haven't, perhaps it will ignite a spark, a flicker of that audacious hope within you. 16-year-old Amara Johnson, her skin a rich, deep ebony, her eyes reflecting the quiet intensity of a distant star, navigated the worn linoleum hallways of Lincoln Prep. It wasn't the grandeur of the school that captivated her, nor the faded posters advertising college fairs and pep rallies. It was the dream that simmered beneath her quiet demeanor, a dream that pulsed with the rhythm of her heartbeat, a dream that spelled out one word: Harvard. She carried that dream like a precious, fragile thing, a secret whispered only to the worn pages of her journal. And now, in the form of an essay titled, "Why Harvard? My Dream," it was more than an academic pursuit. It was a lifeline, a bridge spanning the chasm between her present reality and a future where possibilities stretched beyond the confines of her zip code. Mrs. Miller, her English literature teacher, a woman whose crisp, tailored suits seemed to mirror the rigid lines of her personality, collected the essays with a practiced air of indifference. Her gaze, however, lingered on Amara's paper, a flicker of something akin to disbelief, or perhaps disdain, crossing her features. "Amara Johnson," she announced, her voice cutting through the hum of the classroom. "Why Harvard? My dream." She read the title aloud, her tone laced with a subtle, almost imperceptible mockery. A ripple of suppressed laughter spread through the room, originating from the cluster of affluent students, their designer clothes and air of entitlement a stark contrast to Amara's quiet, unassuming presence. Robert, the epitome of privileged arrogance, leaned back in his chair, a smirk playing on his lips. "Harvard?" he echoed, his voice dripping with condescension. "Seriously? Do you even know what Harvard is, Johnson? It's not exactly community college." Amara's cheeks flushed, not with shame, but with a fierce, unwavering determination. "I know exactly what Harvard is," she replied, her voice steady, her gaze locking with Robert's. "It's a place where knowledge is power, where dreams are nurtured, where potential is recognized, regardless of where you come from." Mrs. Miller's lips thinned. "Amara, I appreciate your enthusiasm," she said, her tone dismissive. "But let's be realistic. Harvard is a long shot, even for the best of our students." "It's not a long shot for me," Amara retorted, her voice rising slightly, the quiet intensity within her threatening to erupt. "It's my goal. It's my future." "Your future?" Robert scoffed, his laughter echoing through the room. "Please, your future is more likely to involve flipping burgers than attending lectures at Harvard." The laughter intensified, a chorus of cruel amusement. Amara's hands clenched into fists beneath the desk, her nails digging into her palms. She wanted to scream, to unleash the torrent of anger and frustration that churned within her. But she held her tongue, her eyes burning with an unspoken promise. "You'll see," she whispered, her voice barely audible, but her words hanging in the air like a challenge. You'll all see. The bell rang, its shrill cry a harsh punctuation mark on the tense exchange. Amara rose, her movements deliberate, her gaze sweeping across the room, lingering on the faces that had mocked her. She walked out of the classroom, her head held high, the weight of their disbelief a heavy burden on her shoulders. But beneath that weight, a spark of defiance flickered, a quiet determination that whispered, "I will prove them wrong." In a world where dreams are currency, what happens when they're stolen? When the very words that articulate your deepest aspirations are twisted, perverted, used as weapons against you. The library at Lincoln Prep was a sanctuary, a quiet refuge from the cacophony of teenage life. Amara often found herself here, surrounded by the comforting scent of old paper and the hushed whispers of turning pages. It was here, amidst the towering bookshelves, that she had poured her heart into her essay, "Why Harvard, My Dream." Each word was a testament to her determination, a declaration of her unwavering belief in a future beyond the limitations of her present. But now that sanctuary felt violated. Her essay, the embodiment of her hopes, was gone, vanished into thin air, leaving behind a chilling void. She had searched her locker, her backpack, even the forgotten corners of her bedroom, but it was nowhere to be found. A gnawing sense of unease settled in her stomach, a premonition of something sinister. Then came the email, an anonymous message that arrived like a digital dagger. The subject line was simply, "Found this." Attached was her essay, but with a horrifying alteration. Her name, Amara Johnson, had been replaced with Robert Kensington. Her breath hitched, her fingers trembling as she read the words she had painstakingly crafted, now attributed to her tormentor. The audacity of the theft, the sheer cruelty of the act, sent a wave of nausea through her. She felt violated, stripped bare, her dreams mocked and profaned. "This has to be a joke," she whispered, her voice barely audible, the words lost in the silence of her room. She rushed to find her mother and showed her the email. Her mother's eyes hardened, and she told Amara they would go to the school the next day. "We will get this straightened out," her mother said. The next day at school, Amara and her mother went to Mrs. Miller's room before class started. "Mrs. Miller, someone has stolen Amara's essay and put Robert's name on it," her mother said. Mrs. Miller said, "This is a serious accusation. Do you have proof?" They showed Mrs. Miller the email and she said, "This could be anyone. I will have to speak to Robert." When Robert came to speak to Mrs. Miller, he acted very smug. "Yes, I turned in my essay. Is there a problem?" Robert asked. Mrs. Miller showed Robert the email and he said, "Yes, that is my essay. Amara is just trying to make trouble." Amara said, "That is my essay. I wrote it." Mrs. Miller said, "I have to go by what is written, and this says Robert wrote it." Amara was in shock and said, "This is not fair." Mrs. Miller said, "Life is not fair." The reality of the situation crashed down on Amara like a tidal wave. She was being accused of plagiarism, of stealing her own words. The irony was a bitter pill to swallow, a cruel twist of fate that threatened to shatter her dreams. The school's disciplinary process was swift and merciless. She was suspended, her reputation tarnished, her chances of participating in the academic competition, her golden ticket to Harvard, reduced to ashes. In the darkest of times, when hope flickers and shadows lengthen, where does one find solace? Where does one seek guidance when the world seems determined to extinguish your light? Despair settled over Amara like a shroud, suffocating her dreams, dimming her once bright spirit. She felt isolated, abandoned, adrift in a sea of injustice. The school, once a beacon of opportunity, now felt like a prison, its walls closing in on her. It was in this moment of profound desolation that she found herself drawn to the school's boiler room, a dimly lit, forgotten corner of the building. The air was thick with the scent of dust and machinery, the silence broken only by the rhythmic hum of the ancient boiler. And there, amidst the shadows, she found him. Mr. Richard, the school's janitor. An old man, his face etched with the lines of time and wisdom, his eyes holding a depth of understanding that transcended his humble profession. He watched her approach, his gaze gentle, his silence a comforting presence. He didn't ask questions, didn't offer empty platitudes. He simply waited, allowing her to find her own voice amidst the chaos of her emotions. "They stole my essay," she finally whispered, her voice hoarse, her eyes brimming with unshed tears. Mr. Richard nodded slowly, his gaze unwavering. "I know," he said, his voice a low, soothing rumble. "They don't believe me," she continued, her voice trembling. "They think I'm a liar." "Sometimes," Mr. Richard said, his gaze softening, "the truth is a lonely road." He paused, his eyes searching hers, as if looking for a flicker of resilience within her shattered spirit. "But you," he said, his voice gaining strength, "you have the fire within you. Don't let them extinguish it." "How?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "How do I fight when everyone is against me?" A faint smile touched the corners of Mr. Richard's lips. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a worn, leather-bound book. "This," he said, handing her the book, "is where you'll find your answers." Amara opened the book, her eyes widening as she recognized the familiar words, the eloquent prose, the profound insights. It was a collection of essays, written by none other than Ralph Waldo Emerson, one of Harvard's most revered alumni. "But how?" she began, her voice trailing off. "I was once a professor at Harvard," Mr. Richard said, his voice calm, his gaze unwavering. "I know a thing or two about words, about power, about the truth." Amara stared at him, her mind reeling. The janitor, the silent observer, the man who swept the floors and emptied the trash cans, was a Harvard professor. The irony was almost too much to bear. Why are you here?" she asked, her voice filled with a mixture of confusion and awe. "Sometimes," Mr. Richard said, his gaze distant, "life takes unexpected turns. But that's a story for another time. Right now, we have work to do." And so began their secret alliance, a clandestine partnership forged in the shadows of the boiler room. Mr. Richard, her unlikely mentor, her secret weapon, began to guide her, to nurture her intellect, to sharpen her mind. He taught her the power of words, the art of persuasion, the importance of standing up for what she believed in. In the crucible of adversity, where do the true sources of strength reside? Is it in the echoing halls of power, or in the quiet, steadfast love of those who have walked beside you through life's darkest valleys? The weight of the accusations, the sting of betrayal, threatened to crush Amara's spirit. Yet, amidst the encroaching shadows, a beacon of unwavering support emerged her family. Her mother, a woman who had sacrificed her own dreams for the sake of her daughter, stood as an unyielding fortress against the storm. Her presence was a silent testament to the enduring power of maternal love, a love that transcended the boundaries of circumstance and adversity. The kitchen, usually a place of warmth and bustling activity, became a sanctuary, a haven where mother and daughter sought solace and strength. The aroma of simmering spices mingled with the quiet murmur of their voices, creating a comforting symphony of resilience. "Amara," her mother began, her voice soft but firm, "they want to break you. They want you to believe that your dreams are too big, too audacious. But you must never give them that satisfaction." "But Mom," Amara replied, her voice tinged with despair, "they've taken everything from me. My reputation, my chance at Harvard. What's left?" Her mother's eyes, usually filled with warmth and laughter, now held a steely resolve. "They can take your reputation, they can steal your opportunities, but they can never touch your spirit. That, Amara, is your birthright." She recounted her own story, a tale of dreams deferred, of sacrifices made, of a Harvard scholarship relinquished in the face of unforeseen tragedy. Yet, there was no bitterness in her voice, only a quiet determination to ensure that her daughter would not suffer the same fate. "I gave up my dream for you, Amara," she said, her voice trembling slightly, "but I will not let them steal yours. We will fight this together. We will expose their lies, and we will reclaim your future." The words, though simple, resonated with a profound power, igniting a spark of hope within Amara's weary soul. She realized that she was not alone in her battle, that she had a family who would stand by her, unwavering, until justice prevailed. When the stage is set for your downfall, when the spotlight shines on your vulnerabilities, do you shrink into the shadows, or do you rise, phoenix-like, from the ashes of adversity? The academic competition loomed like a daunting precipice, a final, insurmountable obstacle on Amara's path to redemption. Robert, emboldened by his ill-gotten gains, strutted through the halls, his arrogance radiating like a toxic aura. Mrs. Miller, her eyes averted, her demeanor cold and indifferent, offered no solace, no hint of remorse. Yet, Amara refused to be intimidated. She channeled her anger, her frustration, her despair, into a laser-focused determination to excel. With Mr. Richards' guidance, she honed her presentation, transforming it into a powerful testament to her resilience, her intellect, and her unwavering belief in her dreams. The day of the competition arrived, casting a pall of anticipation over the school. The auditorium buzzed with nervous energy, the air thick with the weight of expectation. Amara, her heart pounding against her ribs, stood backstage, her gaze fixed on the stage, her mind replaying the words of encouragement from her mother and Mr. Richard. As she stepped onto the stage, the spotlight illuminated her figure, casting her in a stark contrast against the darkened backdrop. Her voice, initially trembling, soon gained strength, resonating with the conviction of her beliefs. "Harvard," she declared, her voice ringing through the auditorium, "is not just a university. It is a symbol of hope, a beacon of opportunity, a testament to the power of dreams. It is a place where potential is nurtured, where intellect is celebrated, where the boundaries of possibility are constantly being redefined." Her words, infused with passion and eloquence, captivated the audience, silencing the whispers of doubt, silencing the echoes of prejudice. She spoke of her own journey, of the obstacles she had overcome, of the dreams she refused to relinquish. "They tried to steal my dream," she declared, her voice rising in defiance. "But they failed, because my dream is not something that can be stolen. It is a part of me, woven into the fabric of my being, an integral part of who I am." As she concluded her presentation, a hush fell over the auditorium, followed by an eruption of thunderous applause. Among the captivated audience was Dean Walker, a distinguished figure from Harvard University, his eyes gleaming with admiration, his heart stirred by Amara's unwavering spirit. When the shadows of deceit begin to recede, and the light of truth pierces through the darkness, what revelations will emerge? And who will be held accountable for the injustices committed? Dean Walker, a man whose presence commanded respect and whose words carried the weight of authority, was deeply moved by Amara's presentation. He recognized the raw talent, the unwavering determination, and the sheer brilliance that radiated from her. He also recognized something else, a subtle dissonance, a faint echo of familiarity in the cadence of her speech, the structure of her arguments. Intrigued, he requested a copy of Amara's essay, the one that had been submitted for the competition. He also requested a copy of Robert's essay, the one that had been attributed to him. As he compared the two, a chilling realization dawned upon him. The words, the phrases, the very essence of the writing were identical. But there was a subtle difference, a faint alteration in the rhythm, a slight shift in the emphasis. "This is not possible," he murmured, his voice laced with disbelief. "This is plagiarism." He delved deeper, examining the metadata of the digital documents, tracing the origins of the files, analyzing the timestamps of the creation and modification dates. And what he discovered sent a jolt of anger through him. The evidence was irrefutable. Amara's essay had been stolen, her name replaced with Robert's, her voice silenced, her dreams trampled upon. He summoned Mrs. Miller and Robert to his office, his demeanor stern, his eyes blazing with righteous indignation. "I have examined the essays submitted for the competition," he began, his voice cold and sharp, "and I have discovered a grave act of plagiarism." Robert, his face flushed with guilt, stammered a denial, his words hollow and unconvincing. Mrs. Miller, her composure crumbling, her eyes filled with fear, remained silent, her guilt an unspoken confession. "The evidence is irrefutable," Dean Walker continued, his voice unwavering. "Amara Johnson's essay was stolen, her name replaced with Robert Kensington's. This is a blatant act of academic dishonesty, a gross violation of the principles of integrity and fairness." He turned to Mrs. Miller, his gaze piercing. "And you, Mrs. Miller, you were complicit in this deception. You allowed this travesty to occur. You turned a blind eye to injustice. You betrayed the very essence of your profession." The room was thick with tension, the silence broken only by the ragged breaths of the accused. Dean Walker's words hung in the air, heavy with condemnation. "This is a disgrace," he declared, his voice filled with disgust. "This is an insult to the very notion of education. This is an act that cannot and will not be tolerated." He turned to Amara, his gaze softening, his eyes filled with admiration. "Amara Johnson," he said, his voice gentle but firm, "your voice will not be silenced. Your dreams will not be denied. Your talent will be celebrated. When the scales of justice finally tip, when the wronged are vindicated and the guilty are held accountable, what will be the aftermath? And what lessons will be learned from the ashes of injustice?" The revelation of the plagiarism scandal sent shockwaves through Lincoln Prep. The school, once a bastion of privilege and entitlement, was now a cauldron of controversy, a battleground where truth and justice clashed with deceit and prejudice. Robert, his reputation tarnished, his arrogance shattered, was suspended from school, his future prospects dimmed. Mrs. Miller, her career in ruins, her credibility destroyed, faced the prospect of disciplinary action, her actions a stain on her professional record. Amara, her name cleared, her integrity restored, became a symbol of resilience, a beacon of hope for those who dared to dream beyond their circumstances. Her presentation, now recognized as a masterpiece of eloquence and conviction, resonated with the student body, inspiring them to challenge the status quo, to question the established norms, to demand justice for all. Dean Walker, impressed by Amara's unwavering spirit and exceptional talent, offered her a full scholarship to Harvard University, a golden ticket to the realization of her dreams. Amara Johnson, he declared, his voice ringing with admiration, "Your journey has been a testament to the power of resilience, the strength of character, and the unwavering pursuit of truth. You have proven that dreams, no matter how audacious, can be realized, that obstacles, no matter how daunting, can be overcome. Harvard University would be honored to have you as a member of our esteemed community." Amara, her eyes filled with tears of joy, her heart overflowing with gratitude, accepted the offer, her voice trembling with emotion. "Thank you, Dean Walker," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for giving me a chance to prove that dreams, no matter how big, are worth fighting for." The news of Amara's triumph spread like wildfire, igniting a spark of hope in the hearts of those who had dared to dream, who had dared to challenge the limitations of their circumstances. Her story became a legend, a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit, a reminder that even in the face of adversity, dreams can, and do, come true. The news of Amara's scholarship spread through Lincoln Prep like wildfire, igniting a spark of hope in the hearts of those who dared to dream beyond their circumstances. The school, once a bastion of privilege and entitlement, was now a crucible of change, a testament to the transformative power of truth and justice. Amara, once an outcast, now a symbol of resilience, found herself surrounded by a newfound respect. Her classmates, their initial mockery replaced by admiration, sought her counsel, their eyes reflecting a flicker of the same audacious hope that had fueled her journey. Even Mrs. Miller, her demeanor subdued, her eyes filled with a flicker of remorse, offered a hesitant apology, a belated acknowledgement of her wrongdoing. But Amara, her heart overflowing with gratitude, harbored no resentment. She recognized that her victory was not merely a personal triumph, but a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit, a reminder that even in the face of adversity, dreams can, and do, come true. The day of her graduation arrived, a bittersweet symphony of endings and beginnings. As she stood on the stage, her gaze sweeping across the sea of faces, she felt a surge of gratitude for those who had stood by her, who had believed in her, who had helped her navigate the treacherous path to her dreams. Dean Walker, his presence radiating warmth and admiration, presented her with the Harvard Scholarship, a golden ticket to the realization of her aspirations. "Amara Johnson," he declared, his voice ringing with admiration, "your journey has been a testament to the power of resilience, the strength of character, and the unwavering pursuit of truth. You have proven that dreams, no matter how audacious, can be realized, that obstacles, no matter how daunting, can be overcome. Harvard University would be honored to have you as a member of our esteemed community." Amara, her eyes filled with tears of joy, her heart overflowing with gratitude, accepted the offer, her voice trembling with emotion. "Thank you, Dean Walker," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for giving me a chance to prove that dreams, no matter how big, are worth fighting for. As she walked across the stage, her diploma clutched tightly in her hands, she felt a sense of closure, a quiet satisfaction in knowing that her journey had not been in vain. She had not only achieved her dreams, but she had also ignited a spark of hope in the hearts of those who had dared to dream alongside her. In the tapestry of life, what threads weave the most enduring patterns? What lessons, etched in the crucible of experience, shape the contours of our character and define the trajectory of our destiny? Amara's story, etched in the annals of Lincoln Prep, became a timeless testament to the power of resilience, the strength of character, and the unwavering pursuit of truth. It was a reminder that dreams, no matter how audacious, can be realized, that obstacles, no matter how daunting, can be overcome. Never let anyone tell you that you can't achieve your dreams, Amara declared, her voice ringing with conviction. Never let anyone steal your voice, your aspirations, your sense of self-worth. For within each of us lies a spark of greatness, a potential that transcends the limitations of circumstance, a resilience that defies the forces of adversity. Her words, imbued with the wisdom gleaned from her arduous journey, resonated with the students, inspiring them to challenge the status quo, to question the established norms, to demand justice for all. Remember, she continued, her voice softening, her eyes filled with warmth, that you are not alone in your struggles. There are those who believe in you, who will stand by you, who will help you navigate the treacherous paths to your dreams. Seek their guidance, embrace their support, and together, you will rise above the challenges that seek to dim your light. And so, Amara's story became a beacon of hope, a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit, a reminder that even in the face of adversity, dreams can, and do, come true. If you found inspiration in Amara's journey, the narrator concluded, then share this story, spread the message of hope, and let it ignite a spark of change in the hearts of those who dare to dream. And remember, your dreams, no matter how audacious, are worth fighting for. Never let anyone steal them away.